Greetings, Retro Zoltan here. I wanted to do something a little different today and pull something out of my collection and share what I could find out about it. What caught my eye this time was a handful of Bandai solar-powered LCD games that I've been slowly collecting. As many of you know, I really go crazy for the old 80s LCD games. It's where my obsession started, honestly, and Bandai, among many others, were one of many companies contributing to the LCD gaming market. Just a tiny intro into LCD if you know nothing about it. LCD stands for liquid crystal display. Basically, liquid crystals are polarized to block light, and with a proper backdrop, you can essentially produce an electronic display. In its early years, it was most commonly used as a 7-segment display in calculators and, of course, digital watches. It didn't take long before companies realized they could make games with this technology also, which started what I believe was a revolution in handheld gaming. Even the original Game Boy used this technology, each tiny pixel displaying its own LCD goodness. Since we're going to be talking about Bandai for the first time here, a little history about them is that they were making toys for quite a while, since 1950 in fact, but didn't enter the digital gaming market until the early 80s. Ever hear of Tamagotchi, the digital pet that would beep when it was hungry or it needed its poop cleaned up? That was Bandai. How about the Power Pad? Nintendo was so impressed with the Bandai Family Fun Fitness, they bought the rights to sell it under their own name. Bandai even competed with Game Boy with the Wonder Swan. That's an interesting addition to many collectors. The company is still relevant today, but before all that, before even merging with Namco to create Bandai Namco Entertainment, they were right on Nintendo's heels making LCD games. Since Nintendo was already the front runner selling the battery-powered LCD Game & Watch, Bandai decided to go another route and introduce LCD games that were solar-powered. They were the first to do this, ever. LCD games didn't need that much power, so you didn't need a battery here. And just like solar calculators, playing it under the lighter sun was enough to get these things going. Back then, I guess this was a great idea since buying batteries like this was a lot more difficult than it would be today. You were destined to go to Radio Shack, and if you were lucky enough, you would come out with just the batteries you needed and nothing else. What I have in my possession is 3 out of the 6 in the first series of the Bandai LCD solar games. The second series, something I certainly want to start collecting, experiments with using 2 LCD panels on top of each other, which is a unique approach to having 2 stages without using dual screens. Makes me wonder if Nintendo did this, they would have ever gotten the idea of the Nintendo DS years later. The first series is a bit interesting, as the case is a clamshell that flips open a lot like the later invented flip phones. They are only about 3 inches closed. The LCD display and buttons are on the bottom, while the top sports a solar panel. Simple, light, and just easy to play. Like most LCD games, unless if you have multiple screens, you have to be pretty creative with the layout of your graphics. And I'll admit, Bandai really did a good job here. There are multiple levels, and the illusion that the screen changes to a new scene works for the most part. These games obviously are not on sale anymore. If you want to grab them, you can usually find one used between about $50 to $100 off your preferred secondhand site. I'm just going to talk about each game, show a bit of gameplay, and give a few thoughts on it. If you know about these and think I missed something, please chime in. You won't find a more favorite topic to talk to me about. I can promise you that. The first game I'll talk about is Invaders of the Mummy's Tomb. In this game, though, you are the invader, and you're after some treasure. But it won't be easy. Just getting to the pyramid, you have to fight off a constant barrage of snakes and scorpions. And then when you're inside, you have to dodge mummies and spiders that don't really want your treasure-grabbing company. I can see how this game would be appealing since there was a huge love for the movie Raiders of the Lost Ark that just happened to be released a year earlier. What's interesting about this game to me in particular is that you can't enter the pyramid until you kill a certain amount of snakes and scorpions. Even the back of the game says until you get 500 points, you can't get in. The door won't open in the pyramid until then, and in a dark way it feels like a bit of a sacrifice, but I digress. Galima! The second game is called Escape from Devil's Doom, or in Japan it's translated to Heaven and Hell, which, religious beliefs aside, you're trying to get out of hell and into heaven. The first level you're in hell avoiding demons and bats, trying to prevent you from reaching the ropes leading you out of your fiery eternity. Once you climb enough rope, you can make it to a cloudy heaven where I'm guessing God tosses down some feathers for you to grab. Once you have enough feathers, you're in. But of course, then you have to start all over again. Maybe this all is just hell. I haven't found any indication of why you're in hell in the first place, but it's nice to know you can get out with just a little help from above. A pretty creative game, and the demons trying to grab you are a bit horrifying. Sub-Attack is the next first series lineup. Start off your adventure by plugging up holes in your vessel, and once you're done, you can finally get back by shooting missiles while avoiding depth charges. It certainly takes full advantage of making two separate screens from the same one, and it's done very well in my opinion. I think it would have been more fun to have to patch up your sub after getting blasted with a depth charge, but it works. Breakout is a game where you're escaping from jail. While being watched carefully from outside your jail cell, sneak to your window and hack away at the bars without getting caught. If you manage to get out, dodge, climb the wall, and hope your ride shows up for your ultimate getaway. I guess this would have been a good prequel game to The Devil's Doom. You ended up in jail for some reason, but no one's talking. In Shark Island, your plane crashes, and you have to swim to safety before you become a shark snack. When you finally find land, take revenge on those sharks by beating them into submission, but watch out for the coconut. Pretty creative gameplay, but the coconut's killing you feels like a stretch. Imagine surviving a plane crash, swimming miles of shark-infested waters, only to be taken out by a rogue coconut? That sucks. The last of the first series, I'm going to destroy this, Nazo no Chinbotsun, was only released in Japan. Google Translate tells me it's mysterious sunken ship. In this game, explore underwater depths while fighting off sharks with your harpoon gun until you find the inside of the sunken ship. Wait for the haunted skeleton to stop hanging out near the treasure and grab it and get the heck out of there, all while avoiding dangerous eels. Overall, these games are incredibly creative for the time. My only stink about them is that there is a bit of repetition here. In most of the games, the first level consists of gathering a certain amount of points to get to the next level. Still, it's a minor thing to complain about, and honestly, making two scenes off a one LCD screen is difficult to do. They pull it off and make it a little more interesting than a lot of the LCD games that only have one scene. Even though Bandai is a fairly popular company, the LCD games are a bit rare. I don't see them kicking around much in the secondhand market. Also, in my research, I've found you can emulate almost every Nintendo Game & Watch game, but as far as these, it's scarce at best. If you're aware of any Bandai LCD emulation, please let me know. I would love to share it with those who'd like to experience what only collectors can do today. And that's all I have to say about the first series of the solar-powered Bandai LCD games. If you enjoyed this series, maybe I'll do another one with a second, in which, to be honest, I'm going to start collecting. Did you find this interesting? Do you have any of these games? Let me know by commenting below. Thanks for watching, thanks for your support, and I'll see you next time. Bye!